Hello and welcome everybody to Howdy Partner, our weekly Twitch series live here on the AWS Twitch channel. So every week we use these 2 hours to showcase our amazing partners in the AWS Partner Network and the innovative solutions that they build on AWS. So who am I? My name is Jerry Tejada. I'm a partner solutions architect at AWS. And a big part of my job as a partner SA is to review the architectures that are developed by the amazing community of partners and customers that we have here at AWS. And, just to make sure that those architectures are following the best practices for those solutions. And joining me here today on the AWS side is my partner in crime, Lauren Marble. So Lauren,
Howdy.
say hello.
Hey everyone, I'm Lauren Marble. I am Senior Spatial Computing Solutions Architect. And so my job is to do solutions architect stuff. But the most fun part about my job is onboarding partners into our partner network and seeing how they fit, if they fit, and what kind of a lift might it be to get them over to AWS if they aren't already on AWS. And so that's why I'm here today talking to you.
Thanks for being here, Lauren. We've done a few of these now, so we're becoming seasoned hosts.
Trained professionals.
Oh yeah, and part of our thing that we do, we're in the spatial computing technical field community. So we love all of our partners, but we definitely love having spatial computing partners since that is our focus and passion. So speaking of that note, you know who we are. Now let's bring in our partners at Prevu3D. So on today's episode, Prevu3D will show us how to use their digital twin solution in order to connect real-world assets, data, and people through 3D software solutions on AWS. Because that's what we do here with partnership. It's us at AWS and our partners at Prevu3D helping you, the customers of all shapes and sizes. All right, so that's enough of me. Let's bring in our partners here, Michel and Phil. How are we doing? Welcome.
Hey, Jerry and Lauren.
Howdy.
Howdy.
All right, we've got the full squad here. So thanks for being on the show again. I know it's your second time on the show, so that is just fantastic to have you here again. I hear there's some exciting new updates to the Prevu3D solution that we didn't get to see last time.
Absolutely, there's definitely exciting stuff we're going to show you today. Lauren has set a challenge of us raising the bar on our first one that we did, so definitely we'll do our best to achieve that. I think that before we show the new stuff that's just been released, we're going to do a quick recap of what we do as a core of our product. First thing off is like our solution is built on AWS. We use the platform for many things, including doing a lot of data processing. So one thing that we're known for is taking 3D scanning data, point cloud data that comes from a 3D scanner, and automatically convert that into a full 3D mesh environment. And I think if Phil can share his screen, we can look at some of the visuals. We're definitely
real quick, Michel.
Yeah.
Just real quick,
yes.
Before we jump into the screen share, can y'all introduce yourselves just for few
Sorry
folks who may not have seen the first episode, which I'm sure everybody here has, but just in case.
Yes, thanks for the reminder. I was just going for it without thinking about introducing myself. Silly me. So I'm Michel Besner. I'm the VP of Product at Prevu3D, and my colleague here, Phil, want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. I'm Philippe, Project Manager at Prevu3D. Yeah.
Okay, proceed.
Yes. Now I can proceed. Yes.
That's what we do here at Howdy Partner. It is off the cuff. We are fully non-script, nothing. We just go for it. So we love it.
Absolutely. I love that way. It's a lot easier than the strict format that you have to, count every second. So yes, like I was saying, so we take 3D scanning data, and what's really unique to us is it's a full automatic process to convert to a high quality 3D mesh. So we use the Amazon Web Services cloud platform environment to really crunch this data very quickly, like, in a few hours. Typically, if you have like a very massive, like point cloud, like a terabyte, that might be like, like an overnight process. So it's extremely fast. And then we have both our web application that you can use to view and collaborate. And then we have a specialized desktop app for more of the advanced engineering features. So Phil, do you have one of your screens ready? We can show some of the visuals, because that's really where things really start shining. So what you're seeing here is a full 3D environment, right? This has been hasn't been retouched. This is basically, we took a 3D scan that one of our partners here, it's Visa Pro in the Europe, that did that scan. I think this one was done with the Leica 360. And what you're seeing is a full 3D environment that looks almost like you've built a game of the facility, right? And it's fully interactive. You can navigate around and really, go to all the details and really go really precise and really see every nicks and crannies of the environment. And that's really the first unique thing that our product does, right? It's really to visualize, understand the space. What really distincts us from other systems is that we're able to edit the space. So you're seeing here, there's a bunch of equipment, there's machines, and maybe I just want to do like, I want to relocate some equipment. I want to move it around because this machine is going to be decommissioned, or we would just want to move it around into the facility. And so we're able to take this piece of asset here, and Phil's going to basically just cut it out. And so you'll see, like, magically, this asset will first disappear, and then it's going to come back, and then it's going to become a movable asset into this environment. So very quickly, as you see, in a few seconds, this is basically being cut. This looks easy here. It's a complex map, a system in the back that cuts this asset out of the mesh. And now, basically, Phil's going to click on it, and this becomes a movable asset. There you go. And now, if I want to move it around, almost like Lego blocks, I can just move this around and start doing new design layouts. If I want to just see, like here, I just copy. Phil just copied another version of this asset. I can even see, does it go out the door that certain way? If I want to move it in a certain place, can I redesign my space? As you can imagine, in minutes or hours instead of days. Typically, if you're doing these complex engineering designs, it will be very lengthy to do this in a traditional CAD software. Here, you're basically almost like playing a game of your factory and redesigning things on the fly like this. And actually, one thing I forgot to mention, if anybody has comments or questions as we're showing this stuff, hey, we want this to be interactive, not just ourselves with Jerry and Lauren, but anybody on there. They have questions, you can ask away, and we'll be more than happy to answer anything that you're asking for.
Definitely bring the questions.
Yep.
Totally. Yes, we like questions.
Triple that. Bring the questions in. We actually do have a question that came right off the bat.
Oh yeah, okay.
Are you guys good at leak code? A fun in there.
We both used to do software development, and I still do a part-time job. Sometimes, I do on my side for fun, do some coding. Yeah. But now we are more on the project management side of things. But we do have some people internally that are probably pretty good at leak code.
Yeah, absolutely. So as you can see, this for doing design engineering work. You want to do a quick design iteration with colleagues. You can then use our web platform to share and collaborate with different stakeholders. Again, our web platform is running on AWS. And really, it's as simple as you're moving blocks here and there like this very quickly. So we've seen some of our customers save millions of dollars on design projects because they're able to have these conference calls with different stakeholders. And well, what if we do this like that, or this way, or move this around? And then the technical engineer, the project engineer can just make some changes, send designs, updates to every stakeholders, and they can remotely view this and really say, okay, well, this works, this doesn't work, and really drive concept design to a whole different level. And of course, we can do measurements and all the usual stuff you would expect from a design engineering type of product per se.
Yeah, you can also bring a 3D model from CAD software as well. So a lot of people do engineering work. They use CAD software to design new components. As you can see up here, we have a new conveyor line, so you can bring that in and see if it does work or not. or if it's clashing with existing components, and do we need to remove some pipes? Like over here, okay, we have a crane that can clash with this, so you can like take some decision based on that. But typically on a 2D layout, you will never see that type of things, or at least it will be pretty tricky to see it.
Exactly.
So,
So
Michel,
really,
really quickly,
yeah.
if we could take a step back here, because you just alluded
Mhm.
to this just now, but if we could ask for the audience, what's the benefit of having a digital twin to a business? You mentioned saving millions in, design. Could you speak a little bit about what the benefits of having a digital twin are?
It's a great question. I think that the challenge for any company, any manufacturing site, is that, and especially when you have a certain size of facilities, like you have a lot of people coming in and out of those places, right? You're hiring more people. There's people retiring, and the challenge is, how do you provide context to your space, right? Because I mean, you see a really good example with real estate. When you're visiting houses now, you're using like 3D plans. Like Matterport is known for that in the real estate, right? So you're doing virtual visits of a house, and the house is fairly simple, right? You have a few rooms, and but even there, the virtual visit is useful. Well, a manufacturing site can be very complex, right? So how do you understand that space? How you can convey that information to someone else? Like, some people are good at looking at 2D CAD plans or even 3D CAD plans, but you see here, what you're seeing here, this is actually, it's a gamified version of the space, and you really have full context. Machinery, equipment is complex. It's cumbersome, so it's not as trivial for anybody to understand. So if you're, of course, every day in a factory and yourself, it, maybe your colleagues don't, right? So if you're onboarding a new employee, training abilities, right? A lot of sites have hazardous things. There is health and safety considerations, right? We're seeing some of our customers using a digital twin to document, where are there danger? Like if you have like a ocular cleaning station, if you get your eyes, splashed with the toxic, content, right? How do you address these type of, situation and better document your facility? So there are a lot of different use cases in where a digital twin can help. And the bottom line is really about understanding the space. If you have a facility that has like complex equipment, you've got all these pipes, which pipes are doing what? Like, where are your hot water, cold water, toxic, liquid pipes, and so on. So that knowledge of the space is not obvious to everybody. So providing context, helping everybody understand through these, virtual visits or documenting a site. We're seeing some of our customers that are using more and more digital twins for planning asset inspections, right? You're going to be, let's say you want to inspect, piping into your high piping in the ceiling of your facility. You need scaffolding. Well, how do you plan your asset inspection? You want to inspect a certain amount of pipes in the next 2 weeks. Well, how do you plan those specific environments, right? So the different use cases where this becomes more and more a widely used example. We're still early into the digital twin world, right? It's still something that people are hearing about. And I'll give you a really good analogy. Like today, like unless you're a very, very small startup, everybody has a CRM in their company, right? You have a customer relationship management system. It's pretty obvious that any company that does business will have a CRM to manage their customers. Rarely now today, people are asking like, why should I have a CRM, right? A CRM is an obvious tool that you have to manage your customer relationship. You're billable with your customers and so on. That's a typical software that people have in most businesses, right? Well, the digital twin will become that same thing. We're still early on, and so some companies are more advanced into their maturity curve over a digital twin experience. Most companies are still learning about this. They're seeing these webinars, and they're like, "Oh, well, that's interesting. I didn't think I could do something like that with today's technology." This is something we're showing that is doable today, right? And so, as people realize more and more that this is possible, thanks to technology platforms like AWS and the work that our software does, then it expands these opportunities, and we'll see more and more of these use cases become tangible for more manufacturing companies. There's hundreds of thousands of manufacturing companies in the U.S. and other parts of the world there's still a lot of them discovering the benefits of this. But just the interaction, as you're seeing here, how Phil is able to just navigate, explore, opening up the space, attach documentation, and so on. It becomes more and more of a compelling use case for these companies.
Thanks for that, Michel. I think it's important to first get that understanding of why digital twins would even be a benefit to customers and companies in the first place. So now that we've tackled that, I see a lot going on in the background here on the screen. Some great work being done by Phil. So I think before we dive into maybe some of these features here, Phil, would you mind giving us an overview of the UI that we're looking at? I see a toolbar on the left side. I see a toolbar up top.
Sure.
Can you just give us an overview of the UI? That'd be great.
Yeah, so on our side, like Michel mentioned earlier, we tried to keep the experience user-friendly to our user base and make it accessible to even non-technical users, because typically 3D software, it's quite complicated. So it's cumbersome, there's a lot of buttons everywhere. So we try to keep it simple. Obviously it's 3D, so it's a bit harder to do, but yeah, on the left side over here, we have all the navigation modes. So we have multiple ones, one that are a bit more technical, so like free view allow you to move in the space anywhere you would like, so you can like cross walls and things like that. So you're like a plane in the space and you just navigate around smoothly. So we designed those navigation mode to be like user friendly, so you can move either with your keyboard or with your mouse only as well. And we also have like modes like photospheres and orbit. Orbit is more like 3D software where you rotate around a pivot point where you can zoom in, zoom out. And we also have the 360 pictures from the camera that was there. So like as you can see over here, I'm inside the pictures, similar to what you can see on Google Maps. So you can click and move between pictures and pictures. One thing that is pretty cool on our site as well is the model that you move around are also move, and you can see them through the picture. So what you see over here is not the picture, but it's a component that I can move around. So it was not there when we did capture and take the picture. So it's a bit confusing sometimes, but it's pretty advanced there, and it's quite useful for people to navigate around with the pictures.
One thing I would add as well, like, look at the challenge in the workforce. Like a lot of people are retiring, right? And today, the new generation of talent have grown up, playing games, right? So they're expecting ease of use in their software. So if you're looking at traditional CAD software, it takes years to become good at something, right? It requires a lot of training. And so when we've built this product, we looked at, okay, yes, we're going to use ourselves gaming technology and other things like that to make the product powerful, but we've kept the same philosophy of like, okay, if you were to build a game version of a design engineering tool for manufacturing sites and engineering companies, how would you do it to make it as easy and seamless and easy to learn, right? So the ramp up time in learning this product is very quick, right? It doesn't require a lot of technical chops to be able to use this product. And it looks simple, but that's the hard part, right? Making things as simple, as obvious, as seamless is part of our secret sauce that we've spent a lot of time making sure that it is easy to use. And so, people don't have time to learn new tools over years. They want to learn things quickly. Time to results, time to efficiency is extremely important, right? And that's what we've done with this product, is really making it, with just a few menus here, you're able to do a lot of stuff that otherwise would be very complicated.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
do you have like online tutorials where people can learn from their content, or do you offer trainings? I know you said it's like pretty intuitive, but we all know that means different things to different people.
Absolutely. So we do all of that. Of course, we have online documentation. We do a lot of videos on YouTube. We do offer training as well as needed from our customers. One thing we like to do a lot, and that's very important to think about that, is that we offer often to our customers to do like proof of concepts, right? Because again, if you're early in your journey of a digital twin world, you might not have all the buy-in from your management, right? You're still, exploring things. And we find that when you start with a proof of concept, like we will help you, get part of your facility scan, you'll be able to create that digital twin, start exploring this, and then it becomes a lot more tangible for key stakeholders, right? Because otherwise, it's an idea, right? If you're starting showing, look, here is a part of our facility, it's documented, it's working, it's interactive, it works over the web. Suddenly, the conversations with key stakeholders change because it becomes tangible, it becomes feasible at that point, right? And that's been one thing we've been extremely successful over the past few years, is really working closely with companies, even bigger companies, in building these POCs at first. And these are very affordable. You can do like a POC for like 15, 25K, like something like that. It doesn't need to be like a massive investment, but suddenly you're feeling the potential of what this can bring to your company. And we've seen a lot of success because of that.
Awesome. And how long do those POCs typically, like how long does it take to do just the basic?
It's
I know
very
it
quick,
depends, but
it depends, but it's very quick. Like, the scanning process will take, let's say, typically a day or 2 days if you're looking for a bigger site, right? But like, let's say a day of scanning, a bit of like, data cleanup that the service provider needs to do on the scanning process. We support pretty much a whole array of different type of scanning devices. And then from that, then you upload the data into Preview. We convert this to high quality mesh, which takes a few hours overnight if it's just a bigger project, but that's very quick. Within 3 or 4 days, you have your data and you're ready to use this product. It's already working there. You don't have to, wait. You don't have to wait weeks or months to get this going. Within a week or so, you're up and running. You're using this. You're able to visualize, edit the space, create design layouts. It's very intuitive.
awesome. Sounds amazing.
It is amazing.
I agree, but I'm biased.
And so, yeah, go on, Philippe.
Just to finish up afterward on the UI, we do have like all the more advanced tool, I would say, on the top bar over here. So like all things related to measurements, annotations, bringing in new files like 3D model, 2D models. And we have our 3D library where you can bring components in there as well. And then we have like the cutting tools, constraints. So it's all the tools to manipulate your space basically and create those design layouts.
Real quick on when you're importing, you mentioned 3D assets that you can import. Are you limited to a certain subset or types of objects, or how do you what are the limitations around what you can import into the scene?
Sure. We support mostly any CAD format. So all the most common one that goes from step file, IGS, Revit files, IFCs, and also the mesh like OBJ, FBX, and GLB. So we support mostly all of them. So typically, if someone work with an engineering software or a 3D modeling software, we should be able to get the data in her platform.
Cool.
Exactly. Yeah, it's very open. We obviously the manufacturing space and engineering environment is complex. There's a lot of different tools, and so we wanted things to be as open and accessible as possible. So we did a lot of work on that. So very important.
Very cool.
So now that we've seen the UI and what each of the buttons do, or what each of the buttons are,
yes,
it'd be great to see what some of them do. I saw a measurement feature. I saw an annotation feature. You might have done it in the background before, but if we can just get a quick example of, measuring something in the space or adding annotations, I think that'd be great to see.
Yeah, sure.
Absolutely.
Just accessing another space. So this way you can see that it can load quite quickly. So that's one of the other secret sauce, I would say. We have our own tiling system on top of the 3D model, which make it super efficient to load like on a computer. And we don't have necessarily like size limitation on the space per se. So even if you have like a space that is 10 times bigger than that, it would run as smoothly on my computer. So.
And for people who haven't seen the first episode, definitely go check it out because they go really in depth into how long it takes, how files are compressed, and how smooth that and efficient that process is. So that was really a key highlight from the last video. So go check it out if you haven't already.
Absolutely.
Sure. So yeah, for the tools, it's quite simple for the measurements. We can take like horizontal or vertical measurements. So it's quite simple. You just press twice in the scene, and you can like start seeing the measurements appearing, and all the entity that you had in your scene will show up on the right side panel as well. So later on, if you like come up and put a tag on the exit sign over here, and I call it exit, you can add multiple things like a description, attachment, URL, and later on during the presentation, we will show you our new reality asset as well. So it's coming soon, and we also
coming soon on top of the features you've just released.
No, well,
Well,
it's part of the release now, so it's
Okay.
there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Coming soon in the presentation.
Oh, gotcha.
Yes.
I thought maybe there was going to be more,
But-
and I was like, calm down.
But there's more coming in
Yeah.
in the next month. There's more stuff that we can hint about. But yeah, definitely we're going to be showing you these new reality assets, which is a whole new way of defining your site. That's pretty exciting. The feedback we've got so far with customers is really good.
Love it.
And then for importing 3D model, it's quite simple. You just click over here, and then you can browse for files on your computer. And it might be a bit too small on the share screen, but this is all the file format that we support. But as you can see, there's a lot of file format in there. You can just import the 3D model, and it will show up inside your panel. And afterward, you can like click on it and move it around and place it. So it's quite straightforward on that side. It become an asset that you can see on the right side panel as well. You can give it a name. So yeah.
And when you're doing this to the model, as you're making changes, is this a copy of what is stored somewhere, or are you actually making changes to the kind of single source of truth, if you will, or the original asset, or are there different options for that kind of thing?
So what we're doing is we're basically creating new layouts, new layers of information, right? So here right now, Phil is still on the default layout, but it will show you a bit later on in the presentation that we can create different layouts, different designs. And so if I want to create, let's say I'm editing the space, and now Phil's going to cut out, let's say, a trash can or anything else like that, and then I can save that as an additional new layout of the space, right? Okay. And so as we becoming more towards maintenance and operations capabilities with our solution, then you'll be able to publish, let's say, a specific design layout as like, hey, this is my single version of the truth of my digital twin, and then people in maintenance and operation will be able to use that for live consulting of the information and so on. So it's going to be pretty seamless at that level.
So yeah, what I just did there is create two different layouts with the trash can, moving it around. So like as you can see now, I'm inside the layout number 2, but I can go in the layout number 1 that I just created as well. And the trash can was there. So you can create different scenarios, different designs, floor plans, and showcase that to all the stakeholders around a project and discuss around it, do a small design reviews, and discuss around that. So it's a good communication tool as well, because as you can imagine, when you do have like large engineering project, there's a lot of people involved in those projects, a lot of external stakeholders as well. So yeah.
Nice.
So I think we should jump into some of the new features.
Yes.
And so before we visualize this, so as you see this space, right, there's a bunch of stuff. There's a lot of assets, pipes, equipment, weird shape equipment. There's a bunch of stuff, right? It's a definitely, even this is like a simple example, but it's still complex, right? Unless you understand this space, it's very hard to understand. And so what we've been looking at is like, this is a meshed environment. Maybe Phil, you can just show the mesh with the triangles so we can better explain what's the next new iteration. So here, what you're seeing here is it's sort of a blob of a meshed textured environment, right? So it looks amazing, but it's just still a full meshed environment. This is not like, it's not breaking down in different assets. This is really just a 3D mesh, right? And
Can you
so what
explain real
we've
quick what a mesh is? Sorry.
yes,
For
no
people
problem. So
who are not as savvy.
absolutely, great question. So we take the 3D scanning data, which is all these little points in space, and then we create these surfaces. As you see, there's a lot of details. We can see like like all the little defects on the side of the machine and so on. So we really create these this triangle series of triangles that define the shape of each of these elements, right? So basically it creates, like, if you've done a 3D modeling, that would have been like something you would have modeled. Obviously, that level of detail would require a lot of time to do 3D modeling to get that same level of detail. You can see a lot of little things here that usually you don't model as detailed, because you'll apply shaders onto your 3D models to mimic some details and textures and defects. Here, it's really the full set of details you're getting from the 3D scan that can be like a few millimeter precise. It's extremely detailed. And that just came from this 3D scanning process converted to this sort of 3D mesh. And you can see here all the triangles that are defining those shapes that you have on this space. But we're still looking at a single blob of triangles. There's no real separation on the objects, right? And so what we've done with the latest release is what we call reality assets. And it's really how we can start defining spatially the elements that define this 3D mesh. So Phil, what he's going to start doing is actually defining assets in this space. So for example, if I start building, and again, the first example that we're going to show here is basic building blocks, right? And say, I'm going to start defining the shape of that specific asset. And what you'll see from the beginning is that we've done this really intuitive interface that makes it very natural to understand, okay, what's the shape of that asset? And assets in manufacturing are not just one rectangle. And that's why this system is a multi-box environment where you can start defining this one part of the asset, and then Phil's going to add another box to capture the bottom part, the back end part of that asset. And so you can start basically defining with multiple bounding boxes the shape of any asset, right? So you can have like dozens of these boxes to define the shape, and that really creates these complex environments. And no other product does that right now. Everybody else has a single box to define an asset, but assets are way more complex than just one rectangle. And Phil, maybe you can also change the view, one of the views, to the orbit view, just so you can see the viewer that you can actually rotate dynamically on the object.
Yes, we have like small preview window on the left side of here that help us to see what is selected or not. So this is like the top view. We have the right side view and isometrics, but we can also fine tune those views as we prefer. And we have the orbit one, which make the object rotate. And as you can see over here, I didn't catch that side of the tank, so I can like rotate with the small turntable at the bottom over here. So I just click on it. It will allow me to rotate quite easily around it. And now I can just pick the box and extend it. So pretty straightforward and useful.
And then you just save that as one thing, and you can.
Yeah, exactly. So you're saving this as a reality asset, as we call them. And these are easy to edit. As you can see, you get full control and precision. And now, once Phil has saved this asset, you can actually attach different parameters, right? So if you want to define, a specification on that machine, the name of the machine, its unique ID, serial number, who made the machine, when it was bought, you can put any information you want on this object, right? And so it becomes extremely flexible to start, attaching any information you want. That can be like, I want to attach health and safety procedures, or I want to attach inspection planning procedures. And now, as you can see, as I click on it, it feels like it's a full 3D asset, but it's still a visual representation on the 3D mesh that you've seen before. So it's highly efficient and extremely smart in connecting data to it, right? So that's really one key aspect that we've been working on over the past while to achieve this kind of simplicity in defining assets onto this mesh 3D scan.
That is very cool to see that new feature. I can definitely see how useful that would be. So when I create a new reality asset, is there somewhere where I can see all of the assets associated with this project or with this
Yes,
mesh?
exactly. So if you see here on the right panel, you have all the assets and the other entities that have been created in this project. And so here, for example, if I click on this asset, I'm able to select it and view the properties of this asset, add more elements to it. If I want to add a note or a comment or a link to other systems. And that's one thing that we're going to hear a lot about us over the next several months. We're going to do a lot of different integrations, because now once you start having these assets with parameters that are easy to define, then people want to start connecting the dots and where the information is. So information can be stored into an asset management solution like AWS VAMS, for example, or some of it is stored into ACP or other systems like that. And so how do you start bringing context to all your enterprise data inputs into this visual layer that we're creating with reality assets? And that's really the core of what we've been working on, is to making sure that now when you're seeing this and you click on this and you're able to access all these additional systems that you have in the enterprise, makes it a lot more obvious and easy for anybody to access the information.
Yeah, and you also have access to the search bar over here. So I define the asset as control panel, so you can search for control, and then you will see the asset appearing over here, and you can press teleport. It will bring you towards the equipment. So even if you have a very large site, you can teleport towards your asset pretty quickly and see them. And the properties that you have defined will show up on the right side panel as well.
Yeah.
Nice.
Thanks
Would
for
there be a
So
way
yeah.
to sorry, let's all talk
Go
over each other. Is there a way to so once you've bounded your object, is there a way to sync it up to the BOM, if it has one coming out of whatever the PLM is, and so you can attach that data without having to do entering it manually for each single thing?
Exactly. So that's one thing that's coming very soon. So in two parts, right? We'll have CSV-like support for file definitions that you might have for your assets. But ultimately, if you have BOMs into your asset management system or your PLM or ERP system, these are the type of integrations that we'll add pretty soon to simplify the creation of these reality assets connected to your enterprise data.
Sweet. That'd be awesome.
Exactly. So you're definitely seeing where we're going with this. Now, one thing that we've done also, because obviously, for some objects, it's easy to define the shape with a few rectangles, right? But sometimes some of these assets are a lot more complex. Specifically when you look at some of this piping, how do you start defining this piping? Yes, we can use the boxes that we've shown you, which is great, and Phil could show you some of that. But we also have what we call a magic wand tool. So if you all use Photoshop before, what if you could just start clicking on assets using a magic wand to select these and start defining these assets? As you can see here, we have this AI system that we've built in the background that in just a few clicks, I can start just click here and then move it around a bit and then just start defining these complex piping system with just a few clicks, right? Very efficient to start building complex shape assets. And so when you're in manufacturing, things are not just simple rectangles. And so we're thinking all these different ways of simplifying how you can build, these reality assets very quickly. As you can see here, Phil did this in a few seconds, quickly. So you can definitely then refine these boxes to make it more precise, but very quick, you can define these assets. Very simple, didn't take a PhD in engineering to do this. And that's the whole point, how to make things simple, obvious, where you can have even a junior technical engineer doing this and start defining the assets into your facility.
I love this so much.
Looks like we have a question. Thank you for
Yes.
hopping in on the questions here. So question is, can objects be merged or bound with a IFC element? Now, I don't know what IFC is, but hopefully you can.
IFC is part of the whole world of BIM, building infrastructure management systems, and so IFC is a way of representing families of assets into a CAD or BIM environment. And so yes, there are things that already exist into this solution. We're coming out with even more capabilities in that. Our vision is to enable reality assets to be connected with your CAD and the scan mesh that you're seeing here. So creating, if you have like a pump 24, and you have a CAD version for it, and you have a mesh version for it, basically it becomes the same asset within this environment. So really connecting the dots between CAD engineering and the enterprise data. So definitely these are the type of things that is possible, and we're adding more capabilities on that front pretty soon, right?
Yeah, and we can import as well IFC files inside the platform.
Exactly.
So yeah, I think over here I do have like a 3D model that's behind this one. Well, it might be tricky to see over here. We see those panel over here are coming from the IFC file, and I can like hide that as well. So as we can see, the reality is a bit more attractive to see, comparing the 3D model that was designed. So it was used on this side. They did like a full BIM model using the scan. It's not always required, so it really depends. And we can also preserve the metadata of those IFC files. So if you have like over here, we see a bunch of things. You can access the metadata of those files.
Exactly. So the whole goal is to create this hybrid environment where CAD, scan, and enterprise data all comes together into this rich visual layer for customers and users, right?
Yeah.
So if we could, how do I get to this point? And what I mean by that is, do I have to bring you a mesh as Prevu3D, or do I bring you a 3D scan and you create the mesh for me as the customer?
So all of it is designed to be self-service by the user themselves, right? So once you have our software, if you have a mesh, we can bring in meshes. Let's say you've done the photogrammetry, for example, scan, we can bring that in. If you have, typically the path that our customers will have is they'll have a point cloud data set coming from a 3D scanner. And so you upload this into our platform, the user does it by themselves. Then we check if the data is good, you process it, a few hours later, it's ready to be consumed like you're seeing here. So it's really designed to be a self-sufficient software that our customers are able to use. We can, of course, help you in the process. Like we've talked about training earlier, we can help you as a turnkey POC project. But we've built this software to be easy to use by our customers without us to intervene into the process. And that's really important because a lot of enterprise solutions are hard and complex, and you need to talk to the vendor all the time to do something. In our case, we want you to be autonomous using our software.
Yeah, and we do have like partners across the world for the scanning part. So if people need scans, we can link them to our partners. So that's something we can offer for turnkey solutions. Some customers decide to purchase their own scanner as well. There's a lot of options there.
We have another question here about how would an X-ray style vision work on these items? Maybe, Phil, you want to show the X-ray mode to we have different visuals that we've created for the product to help, again, height, map, and other things. Here we're seeing the X-ray mode.
We're looking for, but the X-ray mode, it looked pretty cool when we navigate around like this. I would say the main value comes from the top view when we use this type of tool in orthographic mode, which allow you to see almost like a floor plan. So like you can see all the edges of those area, and like we have a clipping plane as well, so you can like go down. So we can remove the ceiling, and now we see like the floor plan. So we can see over here the column with there's two pipes over here. So that view that I'm just showing you can be exported as a DXF, and you can bring that into your CAD software as well to overlay with your existing 2D floor plan and see if there's any deviations. And you can also bring in your own 2D floor plan inside Prevu3D and compared it to. So both way does work.
Something that comes to mind when I hear X-ray is what about like if you had like the entire CAD model of like the inside of one of these things. So let's say you needed to do maintenance on something, right? And you wanted to open it up and you wanted to see like the internal workings of something. Can you, obviously from a scan, you're not going to get that, but is there a way to integrate kind of the guts of things that you can't see, so that, you know, maintenance folks
Yeah.
or whoever could
Definitely. So again, our tool has been designed to combine scanning data and 3D models, right? So if you have a CAD model of your, piping inside of the wall, like often there's things hidden in the wall or the ceilings, we can definitely combine those elements together. Definitely something that, and we're pushing even more those boundaries with more advanced capabilities in the future to really help. And the whole name of the game is like, we started the company helping people to view and change the space for design. And now we're getting more to how to help deeper understanding of the space. If you're coming into this space, I want to understand what I'm seeing. What is what, right? Like I have like hot water pipes, cold water pipes. I want to understand those systems. I want to understand, for example, if I have this piping system here, when do I need to inspect some of these pipe components? Is there a piping elbow that needs to be inspected over the next couple of weeks, right? Stuff like that. So connecting those data points where things are becoming understandable. I understand more the space than otherwise would be very hard to do. Like, we hear about customers sending people in their facility with a laser pointer to understand where piping goes into their facility, right? And so with this, you can be in your desk, and you start exploring the space, and you don't have to go on site to understand things. So here, for example, I'm able to click on the entire piping system or a sub part of the piping, like a valve, and then whatever information that's been put into that asset, I can expect it. I can, take notes on this. I can share with my colleagues. And so, with the searchability that we're building, think of like, okay, show me all the pipe elbows that needs to be inspected over the next week that require scaffolding to be inspected. And then suddenly you start visualizing this information that otherwise would be very hard to understand, right? So it's all about making things a lot easier. And again, there's a comment from Rosaltin about utility pipes under road surfaces. Yes, I mean, definitely, if you have underground penetrating scanning information or CAD models, we can definitely combine those together into the system to help you visualize information that you have.
We do have some customers that does that they do scan on the surface, either with drones or like for large site, and they put the underground CAD model to see where they are. And
how often do they find things that are not where they should be, would you say?
I would say it's all the time, because it's like the number one thing that when people start any, let's say, CapEx project, like a new engineering project, like what can we trust, right? And so you might have CAD files, but how much do you know if they're accurate, right? If they are, great, but if they're not, you might start a design project the wrong way. So the closest version of the truth is a scan of the space. If you scan a facility, it's hard to cheat the 3D scanner. If the machine is there, the machine is there. Right? It exists because it's part of the scan.
I didn't put it there.
It didn't put it there, but that's the whole point, right? So the CAD file might be out of date. And so we're also looking to how to help the QA process. If you have a CAD file and you have your scan, how can we help you understand what's different? Oh, wait, the whole CAD model is good at 95%, but there's these 5 assets that are not exactly onto the CAD model. How can you then flag this, and in your CAD software, like your Revit software, do the engineering work that's missing to complete your CAD models that matches the reality of the scan, right? It's all how to connect the bridge between reality and the data that you have in your system, making sure that it's coherent, that you have a single version of the truth, And then you can work with it, doing design work, planning on how to document your space, and so on. If you start documenting a site and you say, well, this machine here, and the machine doesn't exist anymore because it's been moved, then your documentation is inaccurate, and that's an issue, right?
I'll just share sort of an anecdote from my former life as a shipbuilder. One of the things that would have been useful is in scheduling installations, right? When you're building something from the ground up, because often different trades have no idea what they just get a work order and they say, go install this cabinet, and they get there and there's a pipe running through where their cabinet needs to be, right? So if up front we would have had, a digital twin that said for the people who were installing the pipe that said, hey, there's a cabinet that needs to go here first. Let's not do this yet, would have been very helpful in scheduling. So it's not just the as built versus the as designed, but it's the as going to be built versus versus what, the schedule is. So stuff like this is just, the use cases are boundless.
It's a fantastic example. And again, it's all about the context, right? If you are able to visualize, understand things, and access the information that's important, right? It changes your ability to make decisions. It changes your ability to, be more effective in your communication, right? Pictures 1,000 word. We say that all the time. Well, imagine a digital twin is 1,000,000 pictures, right? Because it's really giving you the context that you don't have otherwise, right? If you say, okay, we're going to make these changes, well, are we sure it's going to work, right? Well, this is a quick way to make sure of that, and then you can improve your communication with different stakeholders and sharing this. It's easily accessible, and that's the whole point. It's changing some of the places where you might have errors and omissions, you might have mistakes that you've made. That mistakes are very costly. If you're shutting down your facility for a day and you realize that your planning is wrong, that can be hundreds of thousands of dollars down the drain because you're 2 or 3 days extra shut down. So time matters. So how do we help the decision-making process? And that's the kind of tools we're building.
Yeah, regarding the stories, like we had one recently, like people for inspections, sometimes they need like to build scaffolding to go up and pick up the measurement. But sometimes it's not the same team that build the scaffolding than the inspection team. So like they build a scaffolding thinking that you can reach a point. The guy climb up the scaffolding and realize that the scaffolding is off by 2 meters, and like you just need to remove it down and move it and restart. But that's kind of 2 days of work.
No problem.
So we hear those type of stories, and for planning purposes, like you mentioned, I think it can be a great tool.
Exactly. So how to help, finding those issues, right? Like if you have like a place where there's on the site where there's a repair, and then you're sending other workforce field workers for other things. Well, maybe you want to plan accordingly differently, right? So there's a lot of things you can start thinking about when you're able to visualize digitally the space. And the quickest way of getting a copy of your space is a scan, right? And if you have CAD, then we can integrate the CAD as well, so it becomes even more powerful. But at least you're making sure that everything fits within the context of the environment.
Excellent.
And if there's any questions, feel free to ask them on the chat. We want more questions. We'd like this to be a dynamic environment. And you can see like Phil can click on a few more of these assets, and you can define really weird shapes of these assets. And again, other solutions will have a single rectangle shape to define these assets. And you can see here, these are not simple shapes. These are like, there's piping here and there's other things. And that's the whole strength of the system that we've built. It makes it very easy to define as precise the shape of your assets.
Yeah, the precision of that is really impressive. So it starts with a box around it, but then it only grabs the edges and the triangles that are associated.
Exactly. You're basically
The reason for that as well is having those boxes surrounding the object like this allow us later on to update the space as well. So if you rescan that same room and use the same coordinate system, those blocks remain in the 3D space and they are not necessarily tied to your object. So it will allow the user to bring his information to other space as well over time, so you can keep it updated.
Exactly, because
I
that's
feel
a
like y'all
really
have
big
thought of everything.
Well, someone's got to do it, right? So I think that we talk to a lot of great companies. We have an amazing portfolio of companies that are our customers, and I think the secret is to listen, right? Customers have challenges, they have issues, and so how do we make these solutions better for them? That we're solving things that they wouldn't think possible or easy to do. And so we're about creating value, improving efficiency, and making, teams, better at communicating ideas or understanding the space. And so the more you talk to your customers, I think any company needs to be better at learning and listening from their customers. And the better you do this, the better the solutions become.
Yeah, great point. On the note of customers, there's a question that I had thought of. Are all of your customers in the industrial manufacturing space? Are you seeing different maybe industries utilizing this type of solution?
I would say that our first go-to-market has been, I would say, summarize it like complex manufacturing sites. So if you think of industrial manufacturing, automotive, oil and gas, food production companies has been our entry point into the industry because their manufacturing process is complex. It's expensive to shut down the facilities. So, the ROI is a lot easier and faster, right, to justify something. We're seeing more and more, like you've talked about shipbuilding, Lauren, we're seeing more shipbuilding companies interested in using our tools. Mining industry is definitely something we're seeing more interest on. So there's a lot more, chemical plants and so on. So we're seeing a lot more and more, industries wanting to do this. I think it's back to my point earlier in the webinar about the curve of where you are in the maturity stage of your company, right? The more complex, the older your site, the more expensive your facility is, it's a lot obvious why a digital twin is valuable. If your site is simpler, less complex, smaller, yet it's not as efficient, but just like a CRM today, like even smaller companies have a CRM because they're become affordable, accessible, and people, I don't know a lot of companies that would be like, oh, I'm using Excel as a CRM and I don't need any of these like nicer tools. It makes a difference on how you can work. And there's a question here from asking what's a CRM. It's a customer relationship management software. So if you think of if you have your customers and their contact information and all your communications that you have with your customers, and who is a customer versus is a prospect, who has bought your software or your service, having a CRM is a great way of tracking all of that. And most companies today that you're doing business, you'll have some kind of CRM system. Like, there's, systems from like Pipedrive all the way to like HubSpot to Salesforce.com. There's a lot of different systems that are solutions that are, accessible for CRM, right?
Awesome.
Yeah, when you receive a phone call from a sales guy, your name is most likely inside the CRM.
Got it. So what else is new? What else is new in here? What other fun stuff do we have in this latest and greatest version of Prevu3D?
So what we've shown you is it looks simple, but it's a really fundamental change on how the product works, right? It's how to create efficient asset definitions in space. And so let's show you a really good example. So this piping here, right? Phil navigated around it earlier, and it's a complex system. But if you want to start defining subcomponents, like there's a piping elbow, I think further down into that asset where we're able to list, inspection parameters. Like, okay, this can be inspected using a ladder, right? And so this type of information becomes critical, again, back to planning for inspections or informing people about things. Like if you suddenly attached here the user manual, the health and safety procedure if there's a leak, how to inspect this piece of equipment, and so on. And so this is the foundation of this. The next step in our iteration is how do we make this connected to enterprise solutions, whether it's your asset management solution like VAMs, or other solutions like of course SAP as a PLM ERP solution, and so on. How do you start connecting these different elements together in one cohesive environment? And you can think of this as sort of the UI to all this enterprise data, right? There's a lot of information out there, but where is it? How do I access it? How do I make it contextual? Here, we've been watching all these, scanned environments for the past hour, and it's obvious as we look at it. You don't have to wonder like, wait, hey, I don't understand what I'm looking at. If you've ever seen CAD files, unless you're really, really good at it, you don't really understand what you're looking at. This is very natural, intuitive. It is like a very, almost like you see, like we have an avatar walking around. It's like a game of the space. And that context connected to your enterprise data is a big, big step. A lot of our customers are telling us this is a game changer for them, because it's only creates new opportunities in how they can understand the space, document it, and really get more people into this digital twin journey that otherwise was not possible before.
How did you get that avatar in there? Do you guys have something you can create your own avatars, or is there like a Ready Player Me?
We are integrated with. We have an integration with Ready Player Me, indeed. So you can actually customize your avatar, and so that's some of the fun stuff that we've done that a lot of our customers like to play with. And yeah, I think again, it's the whole tool has been designed to be easy to use, fun, enjoyable, interactive, and it makes a big difference, right? Because if you've played with any CAD software in the past, they're hard to use. They're heavy. It takes a long time to do something. This is very quick, intuitive. It's almost fun. Like I've been testing the reality asset creation tool for a couple of months now, and I've been having fun creating assets, defining assets. Here, I know we have virtual fill on screen, but defining assets. Yeah, exactly. So, but defining these assets becomes like, even though it's part of your work, it becomes enjoyable because this is like easy to do, easy to achieve, and it's quick, and that's make a big difference in how you can think of creating these digital twin spaces.
I've got a question. Can you only view the mesh on a computer, or can you hop into VR to walk through the mesh? Has there been any ask from customers to enable?
So yeah, we do support VR. So yeah, we can enable the VR settings over here, and you can launch scene with your VR headset on, and you can just walk around, teleport yourself in the space. So people can use it for either design review, or even like just walking around the space and understanding the space. So, yeah.
What kind of headsets do you guys support?
Mostly
I don't want to say the VP word, but somebody's going to ask. So.
Yeah, we like any headset that support the OpenVR protocol would work. So yeah, any headset like the Quest 2, 3, HTC Vive, the VP as well should work. And yeah,
got it.
So exactly. So we're still seeing interest from the customers, but it's still early again for VR, right? It's still something that it's good for experimenting and innovation wise. We are certainly investing a lot more of our capabilities to enable these new AR VR experiences. And so that's a great example where we're working closely with our key customers about understanding where they're going and where they want us to go to make these type of systems work for next year and the future of where manufacturing and facilities management spaces is going, right? So we're definitely at the forefront of that, and we're pretty excited about that.
Awesome. So I asked the VR question. I also have an IoT question. So can you bring in IoT data into the mesh, maybe like with an annotation and feed real data into that? Is anything like that possible?
Well, if I was
we've done
listening, hold on. If I was listening in the beginning, somebody said twin maker. I thought I heard
yes,
somebody
exactly.
say something about that. So
Exactly. That's part of our roadmap. We've done some proof of concept over the past year on showing how we can integrate these type of IoT, and ultimately integrate with TwinMaker. And again, this whole reality asset foundation is a big step towards a smarter use of IoT within the environment, right? How can you start attaching live operational telemetry data coming from a TwinMaker solution or Aviva Pi and other systems like that to connect the dots with everything, right? And so we've done prototypes where we're showing like live dashboards and so on. So you'll see some of these things coming out commercially over the next several months, and there'll be more opportunity to do more of these Howdy program events, because we have a really exciting slate of product releases over the next year that every month, quarter, you'll see a lot of exciting stuff from us, because we're definitely investing a lot in making this product top notch, game changing for the industry.
Great, that is exciting. Already a great product, and there's more to come. So that's awesome.
Absolutely. We're just beginning to have fun, and people are just seeing the beginning of something exciting.
I think it's easy. I think you make it like the software makes it look so easy that it is really easy to forget how big of a lift this is to do it. If somebody's like, "Oh, yeah, of course we should have a software that does that," but there's not a lot that does do it. So, kudos to y'all
Exactly.
for making it look so seamless and really, really not clogging up the screen with 4,000 options. But with enough that you can customize it. So that's awesome.
It's a fine line of like achieving efficiency and not cluttering the space with too many buttons. I think here there's a really great question about repairs and maintenance of machinery. Exactly. So once you've got these reality assets, you can then start attaching documentation to those assets. So if you have like a user manual, a health and safety procedure for a specific machine, then you can start attaching these documents. If you have a document management system, you'll soon be able to connect document management system directly into those reality assets. And again, that's creating this rich visual layer of data connected together to this reality mesh environment that we are seeing here.
That's an awesome question.
Yeah, Phil, I think you want to. Do you have the other demo with the ocular scene? You have a quick login you have to do here. Happens. It's Murphy's Law. You're doing a demo live, then something happens, right?
It's the single sign-on that disconnect me after a few hours. So.
Well, that's exciting.
Yeah. Yeah, it's secure.
Yeah, we do have a lot of security in place for managing those type of data. So.
Yeah, we definitely take great care about, customer data is so important. So we have all of our certification like SOC 2 Type 2 or GDPR compliant and so on. We really, are very serious about all of that, because, customer data there's a lot of value there, and it needs to be treated with respect. And that's what we're doing every course of the path of our business.
So yeah, that's another room that was captured by one of our partners. As you can see, there's a lot of details in there.
Yeah, the visuals are always like, I've been in the 3D space for 30 years, and I'm always, in awe on some of these visuals that we're able to achieve by converting 3D scanning data to this high detailed mesh environment. You can see like we're zooming into the bolts. And how would you get this otherwise? Like this would take a lot of time to model all of this to that level of detail, right?
Definitely. It's super impressive.
Thank you. Anybody else have questions online? That definitely, don't be shy. We like to answer everything as we can.
Everybody's at happy hour or something.
Yeah, something like that. But yeah.
Or they've been rendered speechless and are in
There you
awe
go.
of how cool this stuff is.
Exactly. So one thing I can mention, like, if you are curious or you're new into your digital twin journey, like give us a shout, send us an email, call us. I think we're definitely really excited about helping companies get started with this process. Like I said, we can do these really affordable proof of concepts, get you started, get you educated about the whole thing, and really help you in your management in the journey of becoming a digitized transformation, a company where you have these digital twins for doing engineering work or documenting your health and safety or facility management and everything else. And it just starts with a simple POC, and you go from there. And people are often afraid to get started because they are, oh, I don't know how it's going to work. And we've made it simple. We made it affordable, accessible, and we're there. Our team is dedicated to help all of our customers into that journey. So don't be shy. Give us a shout, and we're going to be more than happy to help you in this process.
Your software is web-based, right? So people can, access it differently. Is there a way that multiple people can access it in like a collaborative space so that they can all look at the same thing at the same time? So if I'm moving something in real time, but my vendor's in Japan and I'm in California.
So right now you can view a design that's been made online, but we're not able yet to show live edits of the design on the web, right? So that's definitely something that we're working on for the future. There's obviously a lot of complexities in doing that. But today, if you do a design layout, you save it, you publish it online, then people can be online and view it and share it together and comment, and you can see other stakeholders in the space at the same time, but not the editing part just yet. It's definitely something that looking forward to make that possible.
Next month, you'll tell us about it.
So I have a question. As a partner, we do have this beautiful partnership between AWS and Prevu3D. Could you speak to how AWS has helped in making the solution possible, or maybe what the partnership has been like?
The partnership is multiple dimensions, right? And that's what we love about it, right? Because we're using so many components of AWS, from our cloud and infrastructure, the data processing we're doing, data streaming of information to the desktop, and so on. So there's a lot of different components. So already there from a technical partner helping us making this possible. We've had great support from you guys, and that's already like one major step, right? Then from a business collaboration, doing these events is another great example. Like, we've had all these great opportunities to work with you on customer projects and be out there and help promote what we're doing. So this is the type of partnership that there's not a lot of companies that can offer what you're doing, right? This is really something that's unique, and for us, we're privileged to be part of that.
And even for small companies, like a few years ago, you guys have some programs to help startups to get started as well. So I think that's a good help for small companies to get started. And once we have that momentum, and like we are scaling, you guys are scaling with us as well, so that's great.
Yeah, that's a great point, that when you guys scale, we scale. That's how that works. So it's very symbiotic and it's very supportive. I found, from the AWS side, and our partners push us often. You want to integrate something, it's not working as designed, or we haven't considered something, and that helps keep our tip of the spear sharp as well. So we learn just as much, if not more, from our partners than they do from us at times. So so we're equally as fortunate to have really such amazing partners to work with, and it's a privilege to help them grow. So
absolutely. And I think Phil really brings critical point, because often as startups, we're like, okay, well, we're a small player, who wants to really work with us? We're not big enough. And with Amazon Web Services, the whole team at every stage of the process over the past several years, it's been fantastic, right? And that's something that never we felt, oh, we're a tiny company, therefore they're not talking to us. They're really making things accessible. They care about their partnerships like we're doing here. And that's something that if you're thinking about joining on board the AWS program and start building on this platform, you surely should do it, because for us it's been an amazing success.
Thank you. Yeah, this is what we do. And Jerry's the partner essay, so this is his daily, his day, and I'm just here doing spatial stuff, being like, oh, y'all
There
are
you
doing the
go.
hard work. Putting it all together.
Cool
thank
stuff.
you.
So, I mean, for us, that's pretty much what we had planned to show today. I don't know if there's any outstanding questions that people want to ask before we start winding down this amazing Howdy partner session.
There was one really great comment at the end that said, the idea that a factory would have its own API that links manuals and custom machinery data is kind of wild. And it's like, it is wild, but it's, it's happening.
That's exactly
It
where
is
we're
happening.
going.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we're definitely opening up some APIs from our systems so that you're able to pull up information that is connected the way we do it. And it's really about enabling these use cases and enabling the workforce to work better, smarter, and really making this fun at the same time. This is fun. Like this is like tools that people love. Our tools, like we have a customer base that's very passionate about using our tool, right? They love it. They see the passion that we put into the product, and this transpires with our customers, and it's a great experience. And I've been in the business for 30 years, and I've never seen a startup of our size with so many major big logos talking and working with us. It's amazing. It's incredible.
Well, y'all do good work, so it makes sense. I'm
Thank
not
you.
surprised. All right.
Great. Well, I mean, I think that I don't have anything else to cover. And so I think I want to thank everyone that attended this webinar. It's great. And Jerry and Lauren, again, as always, this is amazing. Hopefully we raise the bar on this webinar that we've done together. Looking forward for the comments afterwards. And I want to thank you again for this great opportunity.
Yeah, no, thanks so much, Michel, Phil, for being on the show again. That reality asset new feature, it was worth the wait. It was really cool to see that, and it works well. It's
Thank you.
That's awesome. But thanks so much for being on the show, and I look forward to doing some more great things in the future.
Excellent. Well, talk to you soon.
Thanks all.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everyone.
Have a good day.
Thanks everyone for tuning in. We're here every Wednesday at 5 p.m. on the AWS Twitch channel. Till next time. Thanks all.
Thank you.